Is a relationship doomed to end if a man's proposal is rejected by his girlfriend? Not necessarily. It really depends why she said no. It could just be that she was nervous or not ready yet, but fully intends to say yes at a later date. A marriage is often doomed to end when the woman accepts a proposal she really doesn't want to accept because she knows the alternative is probably a breakup. Context is extremely important, but in most cases I do think so. Not necessarily, but it was probably already doomed because that's one hell of a communication fail, and communication is essential to good relationships. Depends a lot on context. I knew a couple that had a baby as seniors in HS. His father had passed away when he was like 4, so his mom was adamant that if nothing else he was going to be a dad and not just walk away. He proposed to his girlfriend, who initially said no with the reason being she wanted to make sure they could get through being teen parents together before getting married. So she said no, but only for right then. They got married a few years later and had 3 or 4 more kids, and to the best of my knowledge have been married like 20 years now. Maybe? Far more context is needed. Only if the proposal rejection humiliation was recorded and posted on Reddit. It shouldn't be. IMO after a period of dating it's important to discuss these things, but even then you could possibly still not be ready. Marriage is a big step. You are combining legal responsibilities with someone, and it's harder and expensive to get out of the relationship if you want to leave. People should be allowed to say no, and have a follow-up mature conversation with your partner to maybe understand their answer. Yes. Haha. Pity the clown who attempts the blindside proposal, unless of course he records his humiliation for the world to share. Depends on the reasoning behind it. I mean, you usually talk about marriage before someone proposes. If she says that she wants to marry one day and then rejects you, then I'd say it's doomed. If you never talked about it or she even said that she isn't planning to marry, then it can probably go on. I'd be out. My stepdad proposed to my mom like 3 times before she said yes. Sometimes people just aren't ready for that commitment. They've now been married 12 years and I've never heard them argue once. The decision to get married shouldn't be a proposal from a man to a woman. It should be a conversation between partners. If anyone is in a situation where they can say I asked my partner tomorrow marry me, they said no, and I don't really know why, that's a pretty fundamental breakdown in communication. Luckily, there is a really good way to avoid being in this situation. Not always. Not really. Really, it depends on how well the person handles rejection. There are a lot of reasons that a person might not want to marry immediately that have nothing to do with the relationship. All someone has to do is have a discussion about marriage first instead of going in for a surprise proposal. And honestly, if you can't have a discussion about marriage with your partner, I'd suggest maybe not actually marrying them. No, it doesn't. If someone rejects a proposal, man or women, it could just mean they aren't ready, which ultimately shows their maturity and self-love they have for themselves. I think many of the people who do get marriage proposal rejection take it the wrong way and assume they aren't in love with them. However, a marriage rejection shows that they truly understand and love themselves, or they know as a couple they are not ready. If my wife had said no, I would have dipped. Lol, no shit. Pack your bags and leave, bro. A man doesn't stay for those who don't pick them.